Right. Self-esteem is about liking yourself and who you are. This doesn't mean being overconfident, just believing in yourself and knowing what you do well. So, how do you nurture your child into becoming a person with a positive self-esteem, a person who is confident about who they are and are able to show their confidence in what they do. So let us learn more about this with Charmaine Brooks, who is a parenting expert with Munchkins. Good morning, Charmaine.
Yes, I would start off by saying, that we parent from a place of who we are. We parent from our own pain, our own issues, everything in life that we have to deal with. So it's so
Mm-hmm,
important that we really work on ourselves, that we make sure that everything that we're struggling with,
mm-hmm,
we deal with so that we can help our children in that regard. Because our children really become who we are, you know. They
mm-hmm,
definitely they watch our every move. They copy us, Behavior is caught, it's not taught. So yes, it's so
mm-hmm,
important that we really deal with those issues in our life.
mm-hmm. So, what does
Instead.
self-esteem look like to children?
So I would say being confident, most
Mm-hmm,
important, I would say having joy. I would say, and there's a big difference between joy and happiness.
mm-hmm,
Happiness is something that's affected by people and different aspects of our life. And it's
mm-hmm,
fleeting and it comes and goes. But
mm-hmm,
joy is something that is deep rooted and established and brings resilience, hope, and optimism. Joy is being
mm-hmm,
emotionally stable. And if your child has joy, they can definitely weather the storm and grow and learn from their failures.
mm-hmm,
And I would say to instill that joy in your children, you need 7 steps. There's things that you can teach your children, from small. It doesn't have to only happen when they're teenagers.
mm-hmm,
Teaching them joy and resilience is something that comes from very little. So I would say the first step is predictable boundaries. It is saying what you mean and mean what you say. If your child can't trust your word, they're not always sure. It leads to insecurity. If you say no, and sometimes it changes to yes, or the other way around, obviously, other than just instilling whining, it also teaches them that can I trust my mom and my dad? If they say they're proud of me, do they really mean it? Because their word changes. If they say they're going to fetch me after sport practice, will they really do it? So it's so important to mean what you say, to be strict with your boundaries, because it, yes, it does end up in a tantrum. But once they've learned that tantrums and bad behavior ends up in consequences, they realize that instead of rage, they'll be disappointed, they'll accept it, and they'll move on. Because if littlies don't learn how to deal with tantrums, they become adults that have big tantrums, and you know how nasty that can be. So
mm,
yeah, your child feels so much safer, and they don't need to test the boundaries as much. That tight boundaries, safety, security, so good for self-esteem and for that joy in their life. Then the second one I would say is for us parents, like I said now, it's to model that joy. It's to teach our
mm-hmm,
children, where does it come from? And I would say us moms especially, we almost like the temperature gauge in the house. I've seen in my house, as soon as I'm upset or I'm having a bad day, it's like the children flee to their rooms. It's like I set the tone in the house. So it's so important that I'm positive towards my spouse and my children. It's important for me to choose joy and to model it. The way I speak to my family, the way I speak to my children, do I do it with kindness and respect? Because then they will do it. I often come in homes and then parents would say to me, my children just shout at me all the time. And I'm like, oh, where did they learn that? So it's so important to be intentional with that. And then also have a sense of humor. If your 6-year-old dropped the cake on the floor while carrying it to the table, instead of acting out, you know what? 5-second rule, scoop it up and then quickly grab spoons and say, guys, we're eating it outside under a tree out of the bowl with spoons, to learn to just sometimes go with the flow. Don't be so serious. Don't get so caught up. So, yeah. And then forgive. Teach them to forgive by forgiving others, showing them because they will learn to forgive you. They will learn to say sorry. It's so important. And then model resilience. When things go wrong in my life, how do I deal with it? Yes, this wasn't a nice experience. What did I do? Did I make it an ordeal or did I make it an adventure? How did I deal with this? So modeling it for them is so important. They, like I said, they watch us all the time, even from little. Where do they learn manipulation? Where do they see all that in our everyday life? And they will learn from that. And then thirdly, one that I love, and I think it's so great for self-esteem, is gratitude. We live in a complete, today's generation is so entitled. They have everything at the flick of a button, at the swipe of a finger. So gratitude is so important. I love this, that they say the common thread of most content, joyful, and resilient people is gratitude. How amazing is that? If we can learn to be more grateful for the things around us. And you can do that by starting with gratitude rituals, in your family, things you are grateful for. Simple things like, look at the amazing sunset. Wow. Or the dewdrops on a flower. Or how awesome that we can see in color or we can taste. It doesn't always have to be big things or financial things or what. It could be simple everyday things that we're instilling in our children. And I love this. If you could, just for a week, try something called word swap. So instead of going, oh, I have to do the dishes today, how about swapping it with, I get to wash dishes today? That means we had food on our plates. That means we had running water in our taps. We could actually, so if you can teach your children to replace that with what do I have to do, it's like, I get to go to school today. I get to be taught. I get to meet my friends, those type of things. And then the fourth one, I would say, oh, I love this because I have such a heart for families. Family traditions. That's when you bond with your family. That's when you build relationship with your family. All of us, we always tell stories of, I remember when I was little and we did so and so. That's where we build and bond with our family, is by doing family traditions. Very important to have a meal together, have dinner, and if you can't, maybe breakfast, and start with a few days a week and really instill that. And then don't have a fight about elbows flying and bad manners. First start making it an occasion. It's about spending time together. It's about having fun. It's about putting a platform there to talk to your children, to open that communication, and then just one meal a day together without TV has been proven to reduce risky behaviors in teens, increase self-confidence, increase self-belonging, and improve value and identity. And I don't know about other parents, but at this stage, having teenagers, I'd give anything to instill those in my children. And that's where that self-esteem comes in. And then number 5, I'd say foster independence. Teach them when they're going, I can't do this. No, you can't do it yet. Just keep trying. That shoelaces, just keep trying, And it's to teach them that you their scaffolding, not their pillar. That's what they've got to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So they can, because lean on you too much, it leads to insecurity, self-doubt, and anxiety. They
Yeah.
Then you wonder why at 24 you still have a child living in your house, or at 34,
Mm-hmm.
because they've completely learned to lean on you. You their pillar, not their scaffolding. And foster age appropriate independence, being patient, being encouraging, when they're little. I know you can do it. Come on, let's try. Be patient when they can't get it right. Those little fingers will get there eventually. And as they get
Mm-hmm.
older, yes, when you were 3, mom carried your school bag, but now you're 13, you're carrying your own bag. You're old enough to
Right.
pack your own bag. I know you can do it. So it's
Charmaine, I'm
all
sorry to
those.
cut you off there. We're going to
No,
take a quick break and then we'll continue when we come back.
okay.
Variety of Islamic items, musallas, kitabs, Medina dates, perfumes and exclusive gifts. We guarantee you a unique and friendly shopping experience for the entire family. Visit our new branch in Overport at 202 Kenilworth Park, Brickfield Road. Open 7 days a week with ample parking and wheelchair friendly. Like us on Facebook or Instagram at IG Hussein for our latest promotions and updates. IG Hussein and Company, your Islamic lifestyle.
Fabric Direct, now open at 224 Brickfield Road, Overport, Durban, offering you a variety of dress fabrics, curtaining, upholstery, wallpaper, and deco. Fabric Direct, quality, price, and a range that speaks for itself. 224 Brickfield Road, Overport, Durban. Fabric Direct, definitely worth a visit.
They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, yet many children go to school hungry because of poverty. Penny Appeal's Breakfast Club aim to get a warm, hearty meal to underprivileged children so they can spend the day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner by visiting our website on www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back. You are listening to the Mari Makwanda Show on Salam Media, and we are also live on Facebook. So we are talking about helping your child to develop positive self-esteem with parenting coach Charmaine Brooks from Munchkins. Charmaine, thank you for staying on the line with us, and sorry I had to cut you off there. You can continue with the statement that you wanted to make.
No, so I was just saying, the 7 steps for me to teach kids resilience
Mm-hmm.
and joy and to build that self-esteem is that boundaries, to model joy, gratitude, family traditions, and then foster that independence, because they will become confident. They won't be afraid of failure. They'll take healthy risks and they'll learn to be resilient. And then number 6, I'd say create memories,
Mm-hmm.
create memories in your family, that because your home is also your safe place. You want your child to know this is your safe place. This is where you can always fall back on. We're always there for you through thick and thin. And creating memories together, creativity and physical activity is the best childhood memories. I think of my own children. Oh, they can moan when I say we're going on a hike. But once we return home, they love it. They're the first ones to post their pics and to show their friends. And that's where we create memories. And that's where we get to talk about stuff like this. When we're doing something creative, or even if it's building a puzzle together, we get to talk. We get to get in there. We get to bond. We're making memories as a family. And everybody, especially teenagers, but young children as well, they want to belong. Remember back in the day when you could play in the streets and you always wanted to be part of a gang and build your little base camp, and even in school setup. You want to be part of a friend circle. You want to be part of something. So get your children to be part of your family. This is our clan. This is our flock, and we rock, and that self-esteem. You are part of something. It's your foundation. I am so and so. I know who I am. And then, of course, number 7, I would say, is consistency. To be consistent in all 6 these things. Your parenting cannot change because of your mood or the day you're having or whatever you're going through in your life. Be consistent. The boundaries can't change because of you as a parent. So those things are so important, to be consistent. And then speak into your kids' lives. A healthy self-image comes from how I see my children. For girls, especially from their dad, because dad is their first love. They will always measure up the future boyfriend's husband against dad. So the standard that dad set is so important, that there's a good relationship. And for mom again with the boys, because that boy sees himself in mom's eyes, the way mom sees me, what mom says to me. And you'll see, even though dad and sons have special relationship, for the mom, they'll always come to you and say, Mom, check my muscles. Mom, check this move. So it's so important for them how we see them. So the way we treat our children, the way we speak to them, what respect we treat them with is so important for that self-esteem. And then I would say, to be intentional. Be intentional about it. Even if you have to make a list and tick it off. Oh, yes, we're doing this right. We're doing this right. What stage is my child at now? Because you cannot parent a 3-year-old and a 13-year-old in the same way. You have to make sure. This one you'll do a little bit stricter, sergeant major, but that teenager you're going to have to coach a little bit more, all those type of things. And in today's world, it's so difficult. Our poor children has got so much to deal with and to learn, and to just the whole cyber world out there, it's so difficult and dangerous for them to also just have empathy. It's not the same as it was in our days. So you cannot parent them the same way we were parented. You're going to have to change a bit, think out the box, adapt a bit, have grace, but still be consistent. Make sure that, because it gives such security knowing my mom and dad believes this. This is our values. That's something else that's so important for self-esteem. Knowing who you are, what do you stand for? In our family, what is our values? And then I think as parents to speak into those characteristics in your child's life that you see and the ones that you want to see. Because at the end of the day, that is what they're going to take with them. And when they are younger, our authority is big and our influence is small. As they grow, our influence gets bigger and our authority gets less. So you want to make sure that you have a good influence on their life. Like I said at the start, work on what you need to work in your own life. Make sure you care about yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. Work on your self-love. Find what it is that you enjoy in life. Teach them that you see yourself as important, that you have healthy boundaries, meaning what's important in your life. You've put a fence around it. You are not scared to say no, but you also know at the right time to say yes. They will learn healthy boundaries. And then they have such a good self-esteem. If they have boundaries, they're not scared to say no. They know who they are. They know where they belong in a family. And my mom and dad see me as this, and they speak it into my life. Even to start from small. When your children aren't listening, to make sure you say, you are not listening to mom. That's why there's consequences. Instead of going, you're such a brat, or you are naughty, or you are ugly. Those we want to build up the characteristic things. We want to build those things and make a strong tree out into the future. We don't want to break those things down. And what else can I tell you about that?
Yeah.
Like I said, say sorry. Learn to say sorry. Learn to say, please forgive me. What you did was wrong. The way mom did it or dealt with it was wrong. Please forgive me, you know, and walk in what you want them to become. Yeah. Who we
All
are
right.
teaches our kids so much more.
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, as parents, especially parents of toddlers, it can be quite challenging, especially when they are at the temper tantrum age, and you're like, but you're trying to make a point, and they're trying to make a point as well, and it's like you're fighting a losing battle. How do you do that, especially when they are at that age?
Yes. So at that toddler age, we always say it's very much more, it feels like that parenting stage is the sergeant major stage. All that you do the whole time is give commands. Don't do that. Get off there. Stop that. Let's go past now. Don't, you know, so it's a tough stage, but it's such a fun stage. And if you can get that right and set the boundaries and the foundations right, you can move on to the next stage so much quicker. But there's many ways, you know, as at Munchkins, we love to put more tools in parents' toolbox to teach them, to give them things on their fingertips. How do I deal with this? Oh, here's another thing popped up. How do I deal with this? To actually teach you different ways, because every child is different. Every family, every parent is different. They have different styles. So to actually see what unique family is this and this child, what would work best for them. But I would say, in that heated moment of a tantrum on the floor and you all upset, then often we as parents have to almost like put ourselves in timeout. Just think about it, calm down. Because when your eyebrows are flying in different directions, you're all upset. You're going to do it all wrong. But when you stay calm and you deal with it in a calm way, first of all, your children see that you have self-control. You are in charge of yourself and you're in charge of them. You're not in control. You're not trying to parent from a place of fear and from control. You are parenting from a place of love. Mom said this, you didn't listen. Oops, now there's consequences. And they can listen so much better because mom means business. Remember that predictable boundaries? Yes is yes and no is no. And it might take you a day or two, few days. But once you've installed that and they see there's a line in the sand, we're not going back. This is how it's going to work. And you do the crime, you do the time, you don't listen, there's consequences every time. Because I learned this from Andeline and I love it. A rule without a consequence is merely a suggestion. And you don't want to just suggest stuff to your 3-year-old. You want to make sure he's actually learning that this behavior is not right. There's consequences to your actions, you know. And a tantrum is just really an emotion gone wrong, you know. We've got to teach them how do we deal with that emotion. And it's difficult at that stage. At that stage, for toddlers, it's really about consequences because we're teaching them as they grow older, natural consequences. But yeah, in that heated moment of a tantrum, I would say the best thing is a timeout and a timeout done right. And we can teach you how to do that. 1, 2 ticks, sorted.
All right, so thank you so much for your time, Charmaine. But quickly give us details on how our parents can contact you should they wish to know more about getting time out for themselves.
Yes, you can go onto our website. It's www.munchkins.me. There's a lot of information on there. There's some blogs. There's some amazing recipes. And you can contact some of our parenting coaches through there. We can either do home visits. We even do Skype calls. We've learned all interesting things through lockdown. And we even do just a little coffee consult where we can just sit and chat and just speak about your challenges and just parenting and ideas. We brainstorm for ideas, how to help you, because it's parents are struggling. We study for so long for our careers, but no one teaches us what do we do when we're parents. And we want to
Exactly.
empower parents and equip them and get families to thrive, not just survive.
Hmm. All
Yes.
right. So thank you so much once again, Charmaine, for your time and more especially for the tips. And I hope that our parents can take heed of the advice, myself first. But thank you
Great.
so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for having me. Thanks so
Pleasure.
much. Bye.
That was Charmaine Brooks from Munchkins. If you'd like more information, go to www.munchkins.me. That's munchkins.me. And you'll get a lot more information there on how you can contact a parenting coach like Charmaine and others closer to your location. But do stay with us. We will be right back after the break.